me just put my tweet out and make sure everything is in good order, which it looks like it is. Okay, so first things first, just as usual, there is maintenance today. I think they said it's supposed to last a couple of hours, but it's at the usual time, 4 a.m. PDT, 1 p.m. CEST time. I guess that's going to be soon changing to CET. I don't remember when that is. I do want to remind folks that the new monthly housing quest thingy is up. It started on the 15th and it will be running until this Friday, the 22nd. So there's still a few days to get into it if you want. It's called the Residential Renovation. And from what I understand, every month for a period of a week, they will be running this, and they will be rotating the decor rewards that come from it. I think it includes other things besides just decor, you know, like remodel, sky remodel, ground remodel, but I think it also includes pets and stuff too. But basically, it's the decor, or I should say, packs of goodies that came from the like Space Chase and Battle Chase and all of that kind of stuff, and they've just combined it into one monthly week-long event, so that you regularly have opportunity to collect things like some of the NPCs and stuff that you maybe didn't get a chance to get as often before. That's going to be running around. So I think it's like 3 sets of goodies become available, so they will rotate each month. And I think this month's includes the what is it? The Taurine and Protostar stuff, if I remember correctly. And and I think next month they've already said, I think it's going to be the Battle Chase stuff. So it's probably going to be more like the NPCs with the weaponry and all that kind of stuff. So if you had collected some of those goodies and you wanted more, this will be your opportunity to get a hold of that on a more regular basis. Yeah, you may have to wait a few months before the same stuff comes around again, but it'll be more frequent, I think, than it was prior to this change. So again, that's running until this Friday, the 22nd. I assume that the NPC, the Sarah Conavius, I think is how you say her name, will be located in that same place in the major cities that all of the other little quest hub is, but I haven't really checked it out myself. I haven't been in game too much, so sorry about not getting that information, but I'm sure you can find it. So yeah, good luck on that. And good morning, Adelon and Poi, and anyone else that happens to be hanging out today in the chat. I always appreciate the company. So yeah, let's just get tackled into this. Now, I do want to mention, I am aware that the communities feature is live, and there are actual communities already created, but those that I've been visiting are still heavily under construction. I know there are bound to be some that will be finished towards the end of the month, because there are several that are looking to compete in Carbine's communities competition, but I haven't found them yet. Most of the ones that I found, either the main house is the only thing that's there and all the other plots that are connected are empty, or there's like clearly, you know, lots of missing stuff, and like you'll see some bits out in the distance on another part of the connected plots, but there's like nothing in between. So I'm probably going to give it another month or two before we start touring those. Now, I will warn you, basically visiting a community is essentially visiting 5 plots. You got 5 individuals that come together and put together this like mega build. lately, we've been kind of focusing on about 2 plots a week. And that's depending on how detailed the plots are and how talkative I am. It can last up to a few hours. So be prepared. Either we're going to break down the community to like a two-parter and do like 2 weeks of viewing the same community until I cover it all, or we're just going to have a really long stream session. I'm not sure what I will be up for. I think we'll just kind of wing it as far as how long it takes me to get through them and see how it runs. But just prepare yourselves in advance. If you're planning to watch a community tour, it may be kind of lengthy. Hey Siskwe, good morning. Glad you could join. But today we're back to, we're still on the individual plots. Um, I know there was quite a list that Faye sent me of some plots that she felt would be worthy of a tour. And I was going through some of those earlier in the week and discovered that a lot of them have become part of community builds. So I'm going to try and stick to individual plots where we can. And in other words, I'm not going to visit an individual plot if it's already connected to a community. I will wait till the community is actually done before we tour all of it. So it's not that I'm, ignoring your plot, even if it's actually complete, if it's become part of a community and it's still kind of basically standing by itself, I'll probably be waiting until the rest of the community is filled out before we go and have a look. So last week we visited NA side, so that means this week we're back on Jabbit. And the first plot we are on is by a very funny name, Dogs Woof Woof, called Doghouse. And as you can see, there's actually a little puppy here, a little dog. This is one of those cases of taking a theme and just running wild with it. It's a very clever and humorous in some ways and unique approach to a housing build. It is an actual house. They've just fashioned it in a way so that it looks like an oversized, like you're like a little ant or something on this property. So you've got this little dog bone here. You can see his food bowls, his dog house, the dog itself, his little toy here, and then all the grass and bits are greatly oversized. I am assuming that either the property is just an oversized, upside down snowy hill. And I get that because of the white puffs that come from when you're running across the property. So you can see how big it is because they wanted it to kind of go off into the distance. Yes, it looks a little weird past the barrier because the ground texturing kind of goes a little wonky, but still, it's really nice that we can have items that work in that way for those that want to kind of make theirs look like not like it's floating in the sky kind of thing. They still have, the brackets around the edges of the property where the machinery is poofing up. And of course, if you get close to the edges, the honeycomb barrier will show up. But yeah, so we're going to take a look at the property first, and then we'll go inside to the house. There's not a whole lot on the interior. I think the main goal was to fashion the house the way they did. But I'll still show it. So the bone itself is made out of the ice blocks, the cornerstones, and the arches, I think. You'll see that the dog is also fashioned from that. And I think the reason it looks a different color is mostly because of the sky use. I'm not really sure what sky this is, sunset or something. But yeah, it's one of those things. They might have built the bone smaller so they could be more easily, to manipulate it, and then just enlarged it and stuck it down here. I really don't know. Over here we have the food dishes, the water bowl, and the dog food. The water bowl is just the winding rivers layered up. We see this used in like water fountains and things like that. You can see it's not perfect. There's some gaps and overlap, and you can see where they kind of don't match perfectly, but it works really well. It's just an oversized bowl with the water in. For the dog food, it looks to me like domes. I think the hanging fruit, the brown one, that works pretty good. I've tried using it as popcorn, but then it ended up, the way I put it together, it looked like a bowl full of dog food, but I'm sure you could find other things. Of course, the doghouse itself is just regular floor panels, archway. It's really hard to see because it's so big. The dog itself, again, as I said, is mostly the ice rock blocks. Now, they might have actually color shifted it to a yellow. I'm really not positive. But yeah, I think mostly the coloring is from the sky. The sky, I don't really play with the remodeling of that too much myself, but I've seen how others have used it to really bring out some interesting color effects. It makes the trees look different, the flowers and everything. You can see that he does have a collar on. That is the charming bar. I usually call it the fancy bar, but that's the charming bar for his collar. I'm going to see if I can, I think he's just too big to be able to jump up there. I was hoping to get a better view of his face here. Let's see. It doesn't look like it. The tongue and teeth, I'm not sure what's being used for the tongue parts. This is one of those exile rugs, and they've tinted it pink. But I don't know what this is. It's really hard to see. It's pointy, and I have no clue what that is. The nose, again, it's really hard to get a good view. It looks like it's the skull thingy with the, maybe that's what it is. The skull with the two tusks, and the tusks are here for the fangs, and then they've just used the top of the head as the nostril. It's actually the eye sockets that are being used as the nostrils. I think that's what it might be. I think also they might have color shifted it to a black and white to get it to look a little darker, which that's really clever. It's handy that it works out just right, that the little bit comes out like fangs. But I'm thinking that's what that is. The dark parts for the eyes here, I'm not sure. It could be pillows that have been color shifted. It's really hard to tell from this distance, and I can't get up there close enough. Let me see if I can jump to his collar here. I can't get, it doesn't want to let me get up there. It's just not high enough. We'll check around the back end as well. Now, I didn't see if there was any access to the, or I couldn't find any access to the bunker house, but I believe if there is one, it would be around in here somewhere. You can see the dirt marking from it. You can see a little bit of it there, but I tried getting close enough and couldn't get it to trigger the door hatch. It doesn't let me in close enough, so I assume that there's no bunker house access. And then you can see this is by a builder that we've seen before, Bubbles. Strangely, these are blinking out of sync when normally they don't. I've mentioned that before, but it's weirdly They're blinking out of sync there. Strange. Yeah, it could be that, Sisqui. It might be books. Part of it looked kind of a little pointy. Got an oversized ball. There's a side view of the dog. And of course, at first I was like, how do you get inside the doghouse? Well, you can see that they've fashioned the rear end here. We'll check that out a little closer in a minute. This, I believe, is meant to be the leavings of the dog. I'm not quite sure what they're using for this, other than maybe a toxic barrel for the smoke coming off of it. But this looks like one of the pipes. I think it's one of the Red Moon pipes that has the little bulby bit on the end, and they've just oversized it and put a couple of them together, and so it's to look like the droppings, which is kind of gross, but you know, they wanted to take it to another level here, I guess. So yeah, here's the rear end, and this is where you actually get into the house. So I assume this is meant to be like a pea puddle. They've even colored the waterfall a yellow, which is kind of nasty. There are some glass panels here so that you are able to reach the door. And then you go in the butt, and that's the interior of the dog for the house. So they've got the general basics, you know, living room, kitchen. It's all pretty much standard as is stuff. It's nothing too much custom made. They do have a little built-in restroom here. Again, it's all pretty standard stuff. Shower here with the bottles and the chimney being used as the shower head. And of course, we're in the belly of the dog here. If we jump up to this part, this is where the neck and collar are, and then the inside of the head is the bedroom. Now, I'm sure there's some builders that could have taken this even further by really dressing up the interior with a lot of custom work, but I appreciate the concept enough that it doesn't bother me that there's not a lot of that in here. So I just thought it was kind of funny, and of course Faye thought it was valued enough to be to nominate it as a plot to come and check out. So again, this is one of those things, if you have an idea in your head, maybe you know, a lot of us will come up with these little ideas and we're not quite sure how to fill it all out. And we've seen some of these what I call like the borrowers kind of plots, where it's oversized furniture. Like we saw one where it was like a giant bedroom, and you felt like the mouse crawling through the little holes and coming out, and you have this oversized room. It's kind of like a Alice in Wonderland type of effect, and that's kind of what this is, but they've just kind of given it a specific theme. I think these kind of builds are cute and clever. We've seen some giant snowmen and things like that for Winterfest. So yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it shows too how flexible or versatile these snow pieces are. When we did some of the CBDCs in the past, we had a lot of animal builds come out of those, lions and horses. I made a polar bear. We saw some Pokemon. Poi made a snow shrew, I think it was. Snow sand shrew or something like that. So they've been used in a lot of builds. I think it lends itself best because it's a lot of curved shapes. which allows you to make, you know, these like little loppy pillows and round bellies and heads. I used it for a lot of the things for the advent calendar for Christmas in the past. So yeah, these work really great. And with the color shifting ability or feature, it just lends itself even better. You don't have to stick with that purple white look. You can change it up. Now again, I'm not sure that's what's occurred here. It could be that they've color shifted the body part to look more yellow, or if that's just a reflection off of the sky. I really don't know about that, but yeah, I thought that was cute. So this is Dogs Woof Woof, what a name, with their plot Doghouse. So yeah, interesting concept. I like that they went all out with it. It's a little humorous because of the way you have to get into the dog. But yeah, it's certainly different. It's not something you see every time we come to the tours for the houses. Okay, so the other place we're going to visit today is by Yara Rin. Keep getting that. I don't know why. This is an invalid transfer or something. I even get it when I'm using the random visitor tool. Sometimes I'll click on a name on the list and it'll tell me that same thing. I think it's replaced the "this person does not exist" error, and now it just says transfer is boinked up or something. So I don't know what the problem is. It could be a kind of a bit of a glitch from the switching to the communities thing. So I don't know. All I can say is if you try to visit a house either by using the /visit feature on KBT, or if you're going through the random visitor tool, just try it again later is all I can say, because I assume that the plots are there and there's just kind of some glitchiness going on. Because again, you can visit individual plots and like this one you can tell it's by itself, but sometimes it'll take you to an individual plot but it's actually part of a community. So I don't know if that's kind of messing that up or it's changed a little bit or what, but you know, there you go. So anywho, this one is Yara Ren, W-R-E-N. I think is that like how they spell a bird name or something? Anyway, it's called Yara's Bunker Hotel, so clearly there's a bunker on here somewhere, but we're going to take a look on the outside or the exterior first, and then we'll visit the interior at the end. So it's a pretty open plot, but you can see there's a lot of structures and different things going on, so we're just going to pick a side and we're just going to make a loop around. It may be that there's a certain way that a builder wants their visitors to tour their place. Some actually give like little arrows saying start here and then, you know, make it like a little amusement ride or something. But for me, I just kind of wander randomly and I just pick a direction and go with it. And sometimes I stick with it and sometimes I don't. So again, I'm going to be guessing at the purposes of a lot of these, but hopefully it is fair enough to the builder that I don't upset them too much with what I'm saying. So here's a little structure. I think it's like a shop, a food shop. I can see some food bits here. Maybe it's to be like a general store kind of thing. But I love the roofing. It's basically the staircases of the decking that gives that little peaked, but it looks like layered wood. I don't think I've seen those used in that way before. So I thought that was kind of nice. It's a nice clean. It's few pieces, so that's always a plus. Builders are always looking for interesting ways to block that in. And I think the way that they did the little triangle part that most people have trouble filling in on the sides for those peaked roofs, I think it's just multiples of that piece but laying flat and just sized differently to fill in the gap. That way, that's why you don't have like a peaked roof on the interior. It's more flat than anything. I think, or I suspect that's what they've done, which is still pretty clever because depending on how big the pieces are, they probably were able to use minimal to get that all filled in. Others have used just 2x4s and stuff, but this at least sticks with the same material coloring, so it matches nicely. The sides are staircase landings, and as well as the like drawbridge kind of door style thing, which is I think is interesting. It makes it look like they can close it just by pulling it up. You could do it the opposite and have it like an overhang and where it just drops down and close. All right, Siskwe, have a good day at work. See you later. On the interior, like I said, it looks like a general food store, general store kind of thing. The countertop here is basically just framed glass. This part here looks to be like one of the snow pieces. It could be a towel just because of the shape. It looks a little misshapen there. And then 2x4s and staircase landings again. Notice they give it a little bit of a slant as well. And you can see the sneeze guard is not like a cover, full-on cover. It's open on the sides and in the back. Some use the curved glass. Some actually build full-on straight-edge cases. Over here we have our first vehicle. This is a big fave. It's, again, when it comes to certain things like houses and vehicles and just really just anything, detail is great. We've seen, like someone will build a couch and it's got like, 50 to 100 pieces for a single piece of furniture. And others will make something just as cute and unique using, a fraction of that amount. I think there's room for both. For those that really like to get into the details and want to really show off their ability to combine various items in clever ways to build up a single thing, I think that's fantastic. But it's not always practical, especially on a build like this where you have a lot of elements you want to include, but you can't spend all of your decor item count into that one item. So these more frugal or cheaper way of putting something together, still making it look cute, you know what it is, but using way fewer pieces is much more it is better for those that want to include a multitude of things on a plot like this. So you've got like the cryopod, some tires, there's the holographic bit to give it kind of like a little bit of a exhaust kind of thing going on, spotlights for the headlights, and I think that's pretty much it. This might be some kind of weaponry stuck on there. I'm not sure if that's two separate pieces or if that's all the same thing, but really just a handful of items and you have a little, like a little buggy type of vehicle, a little race car or whatever you want to call it. Like I said, this is a very much more practical build of a vehicle than, say, some of the ones we've seen Bucky and Marshall and stuff put together, where they've got like, the windshield and the lights for the bumpers and the license tags and the windows and the doors and the handles for the doors, and it's fantastic what they put together, but again, it's not always a practical use for someone that wants to include it on a plot that's got many other things going on. So I like the simplicity of this, even though it's pretty clever. And we've seen many cars or vehicles put together using the cryopod, and it's hardly ever where you come across one that looks exactly the same as the others. So always little extras or something attached differently or whatever. So yeah. Hey Faye, good morning. Glad you could join. So over here we have a little bit of a garden. It's almost like an outdoor dining kind of thing. Maybe you come and get some tea, crumpets, whatever. You can see they're using some of the hedges that you can get from the hedge decor packs from the cash shop. These do come in different shades, or I should say seasons. They've got the brown ones for autumn, the white-ish ones for winter, and then the green ones for springy time. I think most of the rest is pretty self-explanatory. If you see the archway with the vines on it and some of these vines, I think those are from the spring decor pack. Same way with this fencing. There is fencing like this that you can craft if you're an architect, but again, remember that one is a little more shabby looking. These are straight and perfectly aligned, so those come from the cash shop. They're a little neater in their appearance, but the other ones, they work just as well, but it's just a little rougher looking. One thing too I want to mention is you'll notice that the archway is rather large. A lot of people were kind of upset because due to the collision barriers in the gap for the archway, the smaller you make it, the less likely it is that your character can pass through it. And that's because the vines themselves have collision. Because the craftable arch, you can actually make it smaller, I think, and still be able to pass through. So whoever put this together kind of neglected to kind of give these no collision, so it just kind of works it up a little bit. That's why it's kind of oversized. The fencing and everything is set up so that it doesn't look too out of place, but it feels odd. This little bit here, that's pretty much just the one piece, but the bottom, what do you call it, the pedestal or whatever it's on, that's an upside down gear trophy. A lot of people like to use it for museum bases for some of their collectibles and stuff like that. Over here we have a little fenced in area. I think this is their idea of like a construction site, that they're building a structure here. So it's reminiscent of what you would typically see on a new plot where they have the construction site before you actually put in a prefab home. So you get all the usual expected bits, tool case, piles of bricks. They've used a number of stones to make it look like this machine is really digging through the ground. It's probably pretty loud as well. I don't have my sound on, so I can't really hear it, but I'm pretty sure this is noisy. Yeah, just kind of a simple deal. Over here, again, they're showing off some of their hedge purchases. You've got the topiaries as well. The little flower beds here, I think these are the metal bowls, and then they've put in some either hollow domes or the cylinders. I think it's 2 or 3 layered in. Again, you just size it down just a little bit smaller, and that makes it a thick bit of layer, I don't know what you want to call it. And then I think it's just patches of grass and all that. Now, if you don't want it flush with the ground and you want it raised up a little bit, remember you can use the upside down snowy hill to give you the matching grass in a raised fashion. I love this part here. I know it's simple to make. It's just floors, smaller floors on top and then the bigger ones, but I think it looks so clean. It looks like a little cement wall type of deal. The staircases, I think, is just 2x4s, oversized. And then this looks like basically like a modern home. Flat roof, Oran walls, pillars, lots of glass for the window works. I don't know what they're using for the base of it. Let's see if I can kind of see. It looks like the bottom of the graded floor panel, the one that I've used as a sidewalk. It's the one where if you flip it over, it's got the honeycomb pattern with the yellow trim. I think that's what it is. I've also seen people use the backside of the travel posters as the base. I've done that as well on a few places myself. So go first to the bedroom. I want to say they've color shifted this. I think that's typically a gaudy yellow, and they've turned it a bit greenish. A cute way of displaying your plushie collection is a little tub. It's basically cylinder pieces, I think. Tube and a cylinder for the base. Bathroom here. I like the simplicity of the cabinet. Again, it's basically the same stuff they used for the stairway with the wall, and they just added some handles. It looks like the bottoms of glasses. Everything looks really huge compared to my character's size. These here are, I think this is, what is that? Is that portraits or something? Looks like those golden framed portraits, and then they've topped it and or sandwiched it with floors, and then they've got cylinders. Now notice there's a gap here. I don't know if that's intentional. Maybe they put it together and then moved part of it and forgot to move all of it. I don't know, but I like the arrangement of the plants as well. It's just a bowl with some greenery and just some little different bits. Same way here. Just some tufts of grass and yellow flowers and stuff. And this could work not only in like a personal residence, but that would be something that you could use for an entrance to a museum, a bank, any kind of place that would have some kind of oh, what do you call it? Starts with an R. Reception area or something. That would be good. Over here is the kitchen and dining. Probably the main thing to talk about here is the cabinets here. That's the back side of one of the portraits. I can't remember if it's the tree one or what, but it's got that nice woody texture. We've seen a lot of people use it for cabinets. It's been used straight up for walls and floors. It's really nice wood texture if you're looking for a different kind of material other than, you know, the regular 2x4s and stuff. It's a nice contrast as well. I think these are just Oran floors, and then for the handles, look what they use. Those are the Heart Collection side tables, I think. You usually got the 3 little legs and got the little bumps on the legs, and they just sunk it in. The cutting board is the Oran, I think it's called a coffee table, but it looks more like, it almost looks like a kind of a desk because it's got the drawers on the side, and they've just pushed it down so you just see the top of it. and make it a nice, cute little cutting board. We've seen people use this for doors, faux doors, rugs. See, it's the same table there. There we go. Same thing. And it's just sunk down so you don't see the legs and stuff. But I've seen it used as rugs on the floor as well. And then here's presumably the living room. I like the little flower bed here. It's the picnic tables, just 4 of them stuck together, and then they've got it sandwiched up with things so you don't see the legs. Did a little bit of color shifting with the trees, I think. The display case here is just 2x4s. Very simple, but you know, it's an interesting, and again, it's unique. I'm a big fan of custom building, so when you do something like this, it's even as simple a structure as it is, I think it looks nice and classy, and it fits well with this particular build. Then you've got a really lovely set of furniture for the living room. We'll start here. This, of course, is from the spring decor pack, the potted plant, and the base is the empty trophy cabinet. It's just, I think it's the top that's just been pushed down, and you just see the bit. The rest of it's all down below. You have the little couch, 2x4s, and pink pillows. Looks nice and cozy. See, it's quite a few pieces, but worth it. A really cute little setup. We've seen many styles of couches, sofas, chairs, and again, it's always amazing to see someone come up with their own take on it and still have it look adorable. But I absolutely love the coffee table here. It's basically pillars sunk down into the floor so that you only see like the top half. 2x4s all the way. The base is solid, and then of course the top has been made to where it's got a glass panel in the middle. Yes, it requires more pieces because we don't have like a square with a cutout hole to do that, but I really like this. I think that's a classy looking way of doing a coffee table. They could put, you know, books here if they want, or the TV remote if you want to get into hyper details. But just leaving it like it is, I think that's adorable. I love those pieces there. Off to the next little spot. Again, notice how they left the clutter off of the ground, and that left it so that they could put in grasses and stuff where they wanted it to be a little bit more overgrown and wild. You more clearly see the paths, even though I'm not actually following the paths, but you can better see where things are trimmed and not trimmed. It also allows for no bleeding through. Like if there was a lot of, if they had left the clutter on, there would probably be clutter poking through a lot of this, the stairway and the bits here and the flooring for the little general store and stuff. So turning that off guarantees that it only shows up where you want it, like the grass is here and the grass is here and anywhere else they want to have it. It also helps the parts where they've got like the, I think it's Protostar Instahills they're using over here. It helps that stay blended in because it doesn't look strangely bald compared to the rest. We've seen a few plots that leave the clutter on and then suddenly it's bare land, and so it's obvious where the Instahills are used. So just something to think about. Again, it's a judgment call for the builder. So here we have a little rock formation. They've got the sheep on here. I think they're kind of like treating them like goats. They get around up onto the rocks. Just a few touches of overgrowth. You don't want to overdo it when you're using that stuff. I like the little bits of the canary flowers, just here and there. You can tell that there is a biodome fab kit here. You can see part of it, its little portal popping out. I don't know if they were hoping they were covering up or they just wanted to leave it just in case someone wanted to actually use it. But yeah, again, you can see how they've used the grass patches in their own way to make it look a little overgrown without getting too crazy with it. So here we come to another little structure. Tiki roof, staircase landings, pillars for the staircases, the Chua pillars. The faux door here, they're using the grimoire as the handle. You can see it just barely poking out on the other side. And it looks to be, what do you call this, little sauna bathhouse kind of thing. It looks like hover part pieces for the benches. For the water, I assume that's an upside down frozen spore. It tends to be that dark blue, and this looks like it's moving a little bit. So that's what I assume it is. We've seen that there was I think Kai made an Asian plot, and they had it just huge, and you could really see the water movement. The only thing is it's solid. It's not one of those where you can sink down in it. And it's a pretty dark blue, so there's no chance of seeing any of the things underneath. But it does have that little bit of movement because the tentacles on the upper side, they wiggle. So I think it just causes the bottom to do that too, and it makes a good water effect. Of course, the stones, I can only assume it's either one of the bubbly cauldrons or toxic barrels or something that's down below to give the smoke off. A little bathhouse there. Now, this tree here seems a little out of place. It's got snow in it, but maybe it's one of those items that they collected on, just out of a rarity and just wanted to use it, not let it go to waste, but there you go. So here we have a little bit of I don't know if this is supposed to be like a cave or if this is supposed to be, I assume this is supposed to be water here because it's shiny, even though you can't actually go in it. I don't know if it's the ice blocks that they're using or the bottoms of, it's shiny enough, it reminds me of the Arcterra ice cubes. Plus it's a little see-through, so I think that's what that is, and it's meant to represent like a little cave with water in it. But I am especially intrigued by the little bench here. Now, yes, it is kind of floaty. I'm sure that's not on purpose. It's probably, maybe there were some adjustments made and it just wasn't pushed down. I don't know. But it's staircase landings, the pink pillows, much like the couch, and then metal edge 2x4s for the legs. But for those of you that have beaches or swimming pool setups, this is a cute little addition you could consider, something along the lines of. I'm sure that was kind of an awkward placement because of the curve of the ground as well. They probably didn't want the legs to be sticking out or sticking into the ground oddly. So I'm sure that was part of it. Okay, here we have another water feature, and notice this one, I can actually fit into the water a little bit. I suspect that means that this is um, one of those, uh, what do they call it? Exotic silver chalice. And they've turned it upside down. It's one of those items that behaves a little oddly. The actual bottom of the glass doesn't have the collision. It's slightly inside it. So it's like just above the bottom or below the bottom. So when you turn it upside down and you size it up, that little gap between the actual bottom of the glass and the where the collision starts, the bigger the more oversized the item, the deeper the water. So since this is being used in a small way, it's only up to like mid-calf there or whatever. Others have had it so big that it's covered the entire plot to make it look like an ocean or a seaside, and your character actually goes, you know, almost all the way under, depending on how they place it. They're getting a little bit of a glowy effect to kind of give it some motion. I suspect that's from some of either the portable holograph bits, either the round one or the long one, or the thing most of us used in the past was the bottom side of the hovering medical cot. All of those give off that little glowy effect. Gives the illusion of moving water. Also, the use of moving plants like these lily pads also helps the illusion that there's moving water there. If you can't get a hold of a chalice, layered glass works fine. Just don't layer it too much, maybe 4 maximum, because the more layered the glass, the whiter it becomes. So it becomes more like a frozen pond rather than a nice clear blue layer of water. Yeah, so that's that. Again, most of the flowers here are from the spring decor pack. I think a lot of these lily pads and the steam gliders and stuff are from the waterfall decor pack, if I'm not mistaken. You know, they got little bits of snow in some of these trees. You can see, I think this is color shifted, same way with this one, because I think these are the same tree and they've just color shifted a little bit. Same way with here, I think that's typically a dark green. I think that's the olive tree, and they've tinted it a pinkish purple red kind of look. On to the next building. First, another vehicle. Again, not too many pieces, although this one has a little bit more detail. They've actually got a steering wheel and a windshield and kind of thing going on. This one looks more like a little roadster buggy. So the base of it, I think, is a bookshelf. You kind of see the top of it here. It's one of the Chua ones, and then the shelf part is right here where they've got all the rest set in. There's chimney piece. They've got the little warning sign. They've got some engine parts for the mufflers here. Decking stairs for the little, I guess, how you get in. Crates, they've got the utility crate here for the toolbox in the back, a sofa. The steering wheel is the garage themed lamp. Got the really long part, looks like a muffler bit on it. And then of course the curved glass for the windshield. The bumper bit here, that's a rain gutter, and then a couple of metal containers. So more pieces than the first car, but still pretty simplified as far as it's not too many strange or hard to obtain pieces. And it's pretty cute. Okay, for this building here, I think it's mostly exile floor panels. This part here, I think, is the stairs are hover park pieces, I think. Yeah, the car does look really cool. And I think I envy those because I'm not really good with the mechanical stuff anyway. A lot of nice window work. Again, with the glass, if you layer it up, it becomes frostier. You can see how this is a lot fainter than it is here. And that's because by the time you get to this part, it's like 3 or 4 pieces of glass on top of each other, so it gets a little more frosty. And that allows a lot of freedom as far as window designs. We see a lot of different ones, excuse me. I guess the mailbox is under repair, strangely enough. I guess we'll just start here. So here's like a bar. Now there is the Red Moon one that you get, that's the little rotating bar, and it's got all the bottles and stuff around that circle. So I like that they've kind of just designed their own. So in theory, you would have, I guess, the bartender would be over here, and they would be accessing the liquor bottles here and then distributing it to the guests on the outer ring. Notice they've taken the liberty of doing a lot of color shifting to give a nice variety of bottles, even though a lot of them are the same things. Like you have the tall file, this one's been turned pink, this one's a little bit more orange. You've got the wine bottles, this one's again a little pink as compared to the usual green, that kind of thing. The Red Moon stools, of course, come from that Red Moon pack that comes with a lot of the screens and the bar, a lot of other things. This bit here, that looks kind of like the rug, same way with this. I think that is from the exotic decor pack. I want to say it's either the table or the stools. It's one of the two, and I think it's actually the same item maybe, and just one is sunk down a little further than the other. For the interior here, where that is, I assume it's another one of those. It's either glass panels or maybe that chalice again. I'm really not sure because there's too much collision between the two rounds. Can actually fit in there. And of course, the dome that's set in the center, that's color shifted green. Almost looks like a grassy globe. Over here we have a lovely fireplace arrangement. I like the way the shelves and stuff on either side are built into it with the same materials. Again, I believe that's hover park pieces for most of it. And then I think this is the Exile holographic fireplace, the one that's usually that god-awful blue that kind of just stands out, and most people end up covering. But I think they got away with it because they color shifted it to tone it down quite a bit. They've added in their own extra logs, and then the grating here in the front is just those Osun graded floor bits that you get from Arctera. But I love the little cabinets here. It's, you know, symmetrical, which I like, and but it blends in with the styling by keeping it the same building materials. It looks really nice. This could be in a library even if they wanted. Excuse me. little bit of a outdoor window scene. I like that they took some time to put something interesting here. A lot of times people will build up their houses, make sure there's plenty of windows, and then when you look out the window, there's really not a lot going on. It looks kind of boring, and they've actually taken the time to frame something interesting there uh, to make it look a little bit more lively. Over here, the table reflects the coloring of this arrangement here by color shifting the domes and such to add a little bit of that green trim in. The couches, again, are hover part pieces, including the curved bit. And then they've color shifted those bright pink pillows to a much, not duller, but a softer color. These almost look like day glow green, the flowers. This is a nice little arrangement here. It's, I think it's the Galeris flowers that have been shifted to red. And then the leafy stalks set inside a glass. Very cute arrangement. Same way here. It's just one of the vases that usually has just a little grassy bit with a really tiny pink flower, and they've added the snow flowers in. This is one of those exotic decor, and they've color shifted it to a black and white to tone it down a bit so it doesn't look as bright and colorful, because I think it's typically a lot of gold work on that one. The kitchen, I love the kitchen. They really made those cabinets and such pop because of the color shifting to the yellow. It helps match it to those classroom stools, the yellow Marauder chairs. It's not quite the same yellow, but it goes well enough with it. But you can see the cabinetry is again hover part pieces. It's very similar to the materials used for the couch and such. So it helps it blend in. Yes, it's brown on brown, but I think the way it's built, it still stands out quite a bit. And of course, with that yellow, it helps hold it back. It doesn't get too outlandish with it. Using those tables again, the heart tables for the handles, goes really well with that. The table here as the cutting board. This here is, I think it's the Marauder net shelf. It's just the very edge of it being used as a long-handled drawer kind of thing. The sink here, I think it's just a color-shifted dome inside a hollow dome with the bathroom sink inset for the spout there. Love the little fridge setup here. I'm not sure what the base of this is. It could be the base of the actual bot analyzer or body scanner or whatever this doohickey is. Layered glass for the shelves. I don't know if that's the bottom of that or not. Like it's turned upside down and we're seeing the base of it, but it's set up to look like it's, you know, some kind of refrigerant mechanism there. And of course the new doors, the trap door. Over here for the little, I guess it's supposed to be like coffee pot type of thing. That's one of the lamps or light things that you get from the Red Moon set. Same way with this piece here. I think it's the end of the end cap being used as the little spout. I'm a little upset by the boiling carrots here, but there you go. The stovetop is Chua cups. I think these are the bottom of one of the barrels. This is the graded floor panel, and again, the handle is the same as this, is the Marauder net shelf. The buttons here are the ergonomics keyboard on either end. Look at the little stove bit. Again, it's the same item here. Look at the wine rack. We've seen a lot of different little ways of people doing the wine racks. And it's just 2x4s crisscrossed into a nice little interesting pattern. Another cute little flower arrangement using the lily leaf, the habanero blooms, and it looks like the infused habanero down here inside one of the Draken cauldrons with a little bit of grass thrown in. The kitchen table is just, it looks like, again, the portraits for that gold trim, and then the sandwich between, and then again they've got the gap. So I have to assume that's on purpose because they do that on the other place too with the cylinders. Again, that's an extra cylinder down here to give that little bit of a foot. Okay, over here we have the bedrooms. Again, I believe that's either the stool or a little table from the exotic decor. So they sunk it down, make it look like a nice little thatched rug there. These little spots here, again, those are just color shifted domes. Cute idea for the Winterfest decor, using it for a kitty bedroom. This, if you're wondering about, that's just one of the regular drapes that's been color shifted off. It's funny how the color shifting can really change the items to be almost unrecognizable depending on how they're being used. This is one of the Osun bits. I think it's the one that has like a face on one side, and I used it for my bakery plot as open windows. I don't know if that's what this is supposed to be here or what, but it's just an interesting piece. The back side of it looks really funny. I don't know if they're using it like a wall hanging of some sort, as if it's some kind of weird abstract painting or what. Of course, that's from the exotic decor pack. Again, they've toned it down quite a bit. Kind of disturbing that you can see from the porch straight into the bathroom here, including the shower. Anyway, I love this double sink setup here. This is really adorable. This part here is one of the soul wells from the Arctera area. You've got, I think it's the travel posters inset inside the hover part pieces for the cabinet and bottle tops for the handles. I don't know what they're using for the bubbles, but it looks like color shifted domes for the coloring there for the water, and then using the taurine heads. Now, for those of you that like the landscaping and are looking for some different kinds of stones for like mountains and such, using the back side of these is awesome. It's got some nice texture looking, a little bit of greeny moss bits, and when it's sized up considerably, it looks like some nice mountainous rocky material. It's real good. I've seen a lot of people use them for caves as well. I like the little design here with the little cutout, just sized differently. Again, bottle for the handles. Sleeping bags, shifted one of them for the towels. Same way here, a little color shifting. Same way here with these towels. These towels you can get from the Boxing Gym Fab Kit. If you're wanting the kitchen sink, the one that's like already got the towel and the dripping faucet and all that, you have to actually complete that challenge for a chance at getting that from the loot. But the towels, I think you only have to beat the 4th the fourth combatant, because you have like different challengers throughout. I forget how many. I never make it past that myself. I always end up losing, so I never have actually finished the challenge. But if you make it past the fourth competitor, you actually get a chance at one of the two towels. It's either the striped one here or the one with the little carrot on it, the lop towel. You got like a 50-50 chance of getting one or the other. So if you're looking to stock up on towels, look for a boxing gym fab kit, and that'll be good. I thought this was fun. We see a lot of people use like the green pillows or little snow clumps or some such for like soap and everything. And this, I guess, is supposed to represent maybe a loofah sponge or something. And it looks like one of those strain bulbous things, which I thought was different. I hadn't seen one of those used that way. For the shower head, which again isn't actually attached to the wall, it's a couple of the pipes that you get from the Palaver Point Daily. It's the L-shaped pipe, I think is what this is, and then the end pipe attached to it. One might could even go a little step further and tack on a red moon vent like they did down here, attach it on the top as well and make it look like a shower head even more. The bathroom, they actually went a little further with the toilet in this one. It's just like 3 domes and a cylinder. But again, the efficiency or the simplicity of it is perfect, because if you have a very heavily customed interior of a house, being able to get away with 4 pieces to represent your toilet as opposed to one, like we saw one that was actually made out of toilet paper a few weeks back, and it was like, you know, dozens of toilet paper rolls to make the shape and of the stool and the lid and everything. And that was way more expensive wise for decor count than this is, but they both look equally fantastic. So again, it's a judgment call on the builder as far as how much detail goes into what items. But I like just how they've set up, just interesting. Rather than keeping it all flat, they added that extra little bit. I imagine this is supposed to be like the flusher there. I have no idea, but we'll say that's what it is. Okay, so I think that's all for this building. Again, this is one of those fountains. It doesn't typically come with any water, and they just added that in. Same way here, added the waterfalls and a little bit of overgrowth. I think this is our third and final vehicle on this plot. This one's a little truck. The body, the front end of it is a couple of the garage themed dressers. They've added windows for the windows. 2 spotlights for the headlights with a little bit of a grill, which is the graded bookshelf. And then the magnetized container inset into the suitcase for the little front end there. The back side is one of those wagons that you get from the Shades Eve event. There's 2 different versions. One's got the pile of effigy dolls in the back, and then there's an empty one. And this is the empty one. It's been color shifted green to better match the green of the dressers, topped with, it looks like a Draken wall. Another graded panel here, suitcase, and then a couple of haystacks. And then here we have a little bit of a greenhouse and garden type of thing. Yes, there are uh, fab kits that work perfectly for this, but I commend the builder on creating their own version. Some actually take the garden fab kit and such and elaborate on it by adding their own pieces, which is also fantastic because I always am impressed with those builders that can kind of blend in their um, fab kits so well you can't hardly tell where their work starts or ends. Um, but these fully custom ones, I appreciate all the more because they actually had to build it from scratch. So you have the little carrot garden here. It's just pillars with a little bit of grass inset. If you want to get fancy and have some dirt, uh, like like it's been tilled or something, you can use sandbags or and there's probably other things you can use as well, but sandbags is probably the favorite, just because it also comes in a brown color. Uh, the little shelf here, again, 2x4s and staircase landings, very simple. This little display kind of rack here, again, 2x4s. There's like hardly any kind of like a little overhang, but it's just enough where it's a little interesting. The greenhouse, of course, is mostly framed glass. Look at how they've taken care in getting this as neatly filled in as they can. Yes, there's some gaps where the triangle parts are, but it's still pretty nicely done. For most of the flower cases or whatever you want to, trays or whatever, it's metal planks, and then you just added patches of grass where they wanted and laid in the rest. They didn't really go into too much detail as far as filling in the bottom, so you still see the boardwalk pieces underneath, but it still looks pretty cute. Notice how they use the uh, little pouches to make it look like the trees are ready for planting. So kind of like a nursery kind of thing going on here. And I suspect that this plot might have like a little personal game of trying to find all of the little tickle me gizmo or whatever the thing's name is. Because I've seen several of these. There's like one in the back of the truck there and a couple other places. So some plots like to do that where they hide things and like a little Easter egg and they invite you to try and find them all. The last little section here is their little Oran Loppy area. I think this is the festival fab kit, and then they've just elaborated on it by adding in a lot of their bits. It reminds me of the fab kit that I don't know what it's called, but it's the Oran one. It's actually got a little built-in interior. It has like an Oran window kind of thing. And that's kind of how this, I thought that's what that was when I first got here and realized it was just the elaborated part of a fab kit, but not the entire thing. So they've got the gondola here with the lop bunnies there. A lot of little vendors going on. They've even snuck in a Shadesy pumpkin thing here. Again, the wind is a little rough on the balloons, and it looks like the color shifted, at least one of them, to some kind of weird gold color. Oh, I felt a big stomach growl coming. But they've all kind of just laid it out, and it's just casually nestled in the bunker house here. So this is the namesake, Yara's Bunker Hotel here. So we're going to go inside. And I love the concept of this and how they've put it together. So here's where that Red Moon bar from the set that they obviously gotten, the actual one where it's moving, and a lot of the panels you'll see, the lights, the stools, all of that's from that Red Moon decor pack. I love these little tables here. 2x4s for the legs and then just layered glass here. Those would make great windows on the side of a house if they want. But I like the use of it as a nice clear glass table. The only downside to using tabletops like this is if you're going to put any kind of items on top, either it has to be standalone items or items cleverly sandwiched together so that there's nothing sticking out the bottom, because there's no way to hide whatever you might be wanting not visible. This is another interesting little deal that they've done. It's just an orange sconce, but they've added in these floors to kind of break it up into an interesting setup. They've done that over here as well. For whatever reason, I have no idea, but it looks, again, it's just an interesting way of doing it. This one's a nice little framed artwork kind of thing. It's just, it looks like a banner, an Ichthyam banner of some sort. I don't know if that's multiple pieces that they've put together to make this design, or if it's just a single piece. I really couldn't honestly say, but the frame itself is hover park pieces with a little bit of layered glass. Same way with this. This is one of those Red Moon panels that comes in that kit, but it's trimmed with a little bit of hover park piece just to kind of clean it up a little bit, make it look like a big screen TV. This here I thought was kind of cute. I don't know if it's meant to represent like a window scene that they're viewing from this hotel, so it's like supposed to be what they see in the distance, or if it's meant to be like a type of mural painting sort of thing. But either way, I think it's adorable. You can see a little camping, outdoor camping here with the bar. Again, another little camping area. They got the little fire and stuff. Little cabin on the hillside here. Another little cabin. There's curved walls for that roof. It's something I used for a little house thing. They got that little a lounger thing that they had outside. They've got a mini one here. Little military bit, and then it moves off into more of a wintry look here. Land of the Yetis, I guess. But yeah, I think this is an adorable way of bringing, again, it's another excuse to use some greenery. Gives an interesting backdrop as well. Over here, again, some really fun little tables, an artsy type of approach to some of the seats and stuff. It's basically the those heart themed stools or tables, little end tables. They've topped it with hover park pieces and then capped it with a yellow pillow. This part here, I think it's the same table, but then they've added a bowl for the base, which is kind of showing up a little bit on the edges here. So it makes it look like there's like these gold studs on the hover park pieces that they're using for the tabletop. So they're making these nice little fancy tables and stools to go with them. Again, they've dressed up the sconces again, as opposed to the way they did it over here. They boxed them in with frames, so it's like a shadow box of the lamps. They have a very adorable kitchen. I love kitchens when they go all out like this. You've got the nice cabinetry. There's a lot of hover park pieces. Warren floors. Some of it is travel posters for the top of the countertop there. The sink here is they've color coded the faucet handles. You've got tubes and such for that. Layered glass, I think, for the water here. This little box here, it looks like a nice shallow box. It's really just a cardboard box that's been inset a little bit, and then probably the bottom of another one just poking up just enough where you can see it, so it looks like a shallow cardboard box as opposed to the big one that we normally see. This is like the stove bits up above, but they've added a lamp here to make it look like, I guess, it's heated up inside. Color shifted some of the fruits. They've even got a little knife rack here. It's just 2x4s, and then they've got the bits inset into that. This, I think, is the dynamite pile, the bandit dynamite. Make it look like, I don't know, sausage or jelly or something on the side there with the cheese. Again, you can see they even put in the grating here for the exhaust fan. For the flame, it looks to be, I don't know what fire it is. There, we have the fire packs, but you also have like the campfire and the Falcon fire pit. It looks red. I don't know if it's indicative that it's actually from the fire pack or if it's just been a color shifted campfire or something like that. Again, the color shifting is getting harder and harder to identify stuff. Let's see. Trying to see what this is. I think that's the eyeball, and then probably another one to make it look like, I don't know, some kind of a weird egg or a little pudding thing. But I think that's that massive ocular sphere. I love the cakes though. Everybody loves cake. Can't say for sure what all this is. I want to say it's windows, orange windows, and then like the snow flowers, snowy hill, and then the snow blocks for all of that. But I can't say for positive. This looks to be, it's really hard to say. It's kind of purple pillows maybe. It's been inset into the snow blocks. Is that what you call it, Adeline? Flan? Is that like a weird eggy pudding thing? I like how they're using the flowers for the decorations. It is a little weird with the flowers moving as they do, but if you can kind of get past that, it works really nice. Again, I don't know if those are pink pillows or what, like the round one. Then maybe color shifted a little bit or something. This looks really good because it's kind of a little lumpy, sloppy here, so it looks like icing that's been put on top. Of course, they color shifted the candle to match all of that, which is adorbs. Notice the little detail here even, you can see. Trying to make sure I'm not missing any major details here. It's just a lot of bits that have been added in. Look like they color shifted this. It looks like two brown tables, and then one's been color shifted to a different shade and just overlapped, just to make it a little interesting. I love the little sofa chair here. It's just pillows. I think it's pink pillows that have been turned yellow, or if it's just maybe it's just yellow pillows. And I think this is one of those chests. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like got a skeleton lock on it, and I think it's upside down. They're using that as the base. Decoration on the top side there. Over here we have a little office space. I guess this is like a wall safe. It's the garage themed coffee table, and then it looks like the back side of a tablet computer with a detonator handle and a chew cup to make it look like a little wall safe. A lot of people will just use the ornate chest because it has that big old handle thing and keep it simple that way, but this one does it okay too. This person really went all out with the color shifting. There's a lot to be seen here. I love this. This would be great for an outdoor garden kind of thing, or like a porch. But it's ladders that are being used for the sides and back and base of it, and then the yellow pillows in here. And they got reception upstairs. It's pillars being used for all of the lettering. Travel poster for the sign itself. But I love this. The interesting way of using the ladders. I've seen them. Aurora likes using them for rope, for like her pirate boats and stuff. So here's the reception. Using the Merg dynamite as a pin. Got that little quill pin look on the end. Got a pistol for anybody that comes in as being naughty. I like the little key ring rack here. It's just a bunch of the levers on top of a travel poster. 2x4s and layered staircase landings for the cabinet counter there. Color shifted to pillows to an orange with cover part pieces for this little bench here. Hover part pieces for this nice little railing for the upstairs. Notice how they dressed up the roof here with that graded flooring again from the Osun area. This here is the exotic decor. It's like a wall hanging. It's really long, and they've just sandwiched it in so you only see the very bit that they want you to see with the weird Pumera thingy on there. So this is the actual rooms for the hotel. You can see they've got, again, a lot of color shifting going on to kind of coordinate their decor. You got a lot of pinks and purples in here. The bed is just hover part pieces with the Oran fence posts, sleeping bags that have been color shifted. A little shelving, very simple but cute, perfect for a little kitty room or something like that. It's just pillars and floors. This table here, it's actually a tiki stool with that weird layering thing that they got going on. And I think that's a wooden table stuck in there as well. I don't know what they're using for the layer part. It's very textured, whatever it is. I don't know if it's maybe one of those round, oh, what's it called? The Solwell thing? I think that's actually thicker though. I can't say for sure, but it's a strange texture, and they're using it for the cakes and their tables and several other things, so I don't know. And the shelves are just custom using pillars. Next room over, a little bit different, a lot of wire bits. You have a table made out of those wires with a little bit of glass inset there. Golden arrows for a nice little wall design. There's that. So see, it's got that weird texture. I think that's what they're using for that in-betweening soul well, soul frost well, whatever you call it. The bed here, I think, is mostly stone and then sleeping bags. Again, stones for the stools, topped with cushions. More of that graying panel stuff. And this here is actually one of the big long lamp posts, and they've just inset it so you just see the little lamp part. Cylinders and such for this little tree pot. There's a Dominion-y themed room. This part here, that's the Dominion scanner. Most of this is pretty much straightforward, I think. There's a little bit of Macari in here. Bathroom. Pretty simple there. Guess this is the cheap room. Just a couple of cots. And I like the spilled stuff. They got the frozen lake or frozen water. It looked like a spill. Color shifted the backpacks. That's a little weird with it floating up. That's part of the laundry line, so the rest of it's kind of just hidden so you don't see it. The nautical room, color shifted the white drapes to a blue, it looks like. This here, that's part of that ornate chest, so it looks like a different design for the wall. Same way here, you have an oversized landscape portrait here, just to give it like almost like a mural. This, I forget where that comes from. I don't know if it's from the Red Moon decor set off of the shop or what. It looks like it's upside down, but maybe that's to just make it look a little different. The cabinet here is 2x4s, and it looks like one, maybe two or so Oran walls that's been color shifted blue to match the nautical set. And then the handles are 2x4s, just stuck on there. The table, again, I like the table. I like when they do the texture contrasting, you know, either it's some kind of wood with glass in the middle. This is two different kinds of wood. It's the exile floors, but it's then trimmed with 2x4s. And then you got the domes for the legs on the bottom, almost like suction cups stuck on there. And then, of course, the little TV shelf, again, matches closely to this shelf. Helps it blend in nice. This is from the Red Moon decor pack. I believe that's been color shifted again to a blue to match the rest. And again, I love the differences, you know, lots of variety in the different kinds of pots for the potted plants. And here again, there's that sandwiching going on. Again, I think that's portrait thing, but I'm not real sure. And these are a big fave. It's not done here, but these are a big fave for combining those, squishing them together to make them a long little couch type of thing. But yeah, lots of custom work here. Great place to come tour if you're looking for some ideas for different types of furniture, plant treatments. I would mention here they've got this beaded curtain thing going on. This is one of those items that sometimes you hope or wish it had collision, but it doesn't, so you can get away with using it like a beaded curtain type of deal. They actually leave space for you to walk through it, but you can, you know, pass right through there. The uh, what's it called? Sparking wire behaves the same way. Um, so if you're trying to use it for like the bars to a prison or something, that uh, that becomes problematic if you don't want people to actually pass through them. You have to put something else inside there. We've seen some where they'll like do like 3 or 4 uh, sparking wires and then put in a 2x4 or something else just to kind of make it so that you actually can't pass through. So keep that in mind. But like I've tried to use these for like actual railing or whatever, and it doesn't serve its actual purpose because people can just walk right through it. Oh, is that where it comes from, Faye? I wasn't sure. So the metal sigil, the one that's upside down, is it usually very cheap? I'll have to grab me some because I like the material, especially the backside because it's that coppery metal look. But yeah. So there you go. I hope you guys had fun. Again, I'm going to have to decide how we're going to tackle these communities because, again, we visited 2 plots today and I think it's running a little past an hour now, and that's 2 plots. If I did that, which I'm sure I've talked more about other plots, it could cause like a community tour to go into like 3 or 4 hours. Um, in the past, I've done that many plots in one go, but it does get tiring on my throat. Like right now, it's already hurting. So I'll have to decide if we're gonna like break it down into a 2-week kind of thing, or attempt a full go at a community. It really, I think it depends on how detailed the communities end up being, which I suspect are going to be pretty detailed. So, and then I'm going to have to probably plan ahead on how we tour it, because I've been on a few already that are trying to link up the individual plots, and it's a little confusing as to the routes through some of them. So I don't know. We'll have to see. It'll be something to check out. But in the meantime, we're going to stick with the individual plots for now. Later on, we'll probably mix it up. Maybe 1 week we'll do a community tour, or 1 or 2 weeks we'll do a community tour, and then we'll go back to doing a few of the individuals. Because I don't want to just go, well, from now on we just do communities, because I know there's a lot of individuals that will keep their plots by themselves and not join a community. So yeah, I noticed that, Faye. I was just mentioning that earlier. I've been noting down that they're communities related. I think there was 4 or 5 of them that have already joined. One in particular, I think, is actually the Smoky Isle one. I think it's actually complete, but I have to go through it and see if I can make a clear route. So again, it's because it looks like all of the individual plots are actually full, but I don't know if they finished joining them smoothly to each other, so I'll have to take a look. But yeah, I noticed that. So that's not a problem really. It's just I will I will keep an eye on them as far as, because I know like at least 1 or 2 of them it was just like the one plot and everything else is blank. So I'll probably wait to check those out until they finish up whatever else they're going to be putting on those communities. But yeah, it's something to look forward to, but I'm going to try and continue mixing it up. And again, I don't know how it's going to work because I'm really not keen on spending, 4 hours chit-chatting away. Um, but I may end up breaking down and doing that. It may be that maybe I'll just do a community tour once a month, and then the rest of the weeks we concentrate on the individual plots. I think it will come down to what's available. If I really find a lot of communities, um, we'll do it that way. But I don't want to like use them all up and then have nothing else to tour. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's something to look into, and I'll decide as we go. We may just be winging it each week that we come up, but yeah. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some ideas for some of the things that you're going to be working on. Again, remember that up until Friday, I think, they will be having the what they call the residential renovation quest line open for those of you that want to get in on getting some of those space chase, battle chase, chasey bits. Um, uh, if you want to get in on that, you have a few more days to do that, and then you'll have to wait until next month. Again, that switches each month. They have a different set of goodies that will be available, but it will be coming around regularly each month. So you'll have a chance. If you miss out on this month's, a few months later, it'll be back around. So it's not like you're going to be permanently missing it. Again, with the communities going live, while we haven't actually toured any yet, I am keeping an eye open for those that are out there. If you know of one that is complete, or know of one that's getting close and you feel like it'll probably be worth taking a look, be happy to suggest it. The same goes for individual plots. If you know of any that are standalone and we haven't toured them yet, happy to take those uh, name suggestions as well. Faye's already sent me a good list from both regions, so be happy to add to that. I do have a bit of a queue, but it's kind of gotten so messy with how I list everything and all my notes and stuff. I'm probably going to have to go through that again because there's a lot that's either changed, or now that the communities are up, a lot of the individual plots are not individual anymore. So I'm going to have to like make me a new queue list. So happy for you guys to help me on that. No guarantee as to when I will get to it, but eventually my goal is to get to all of them at some point or another. Do keep in mind that there is still the communities competition that Carbine is hosting. I think you have till, I want to say it's today. Is it today that's the deadline? I'm not sure. I want to say that's what I read. But I think today was the last day that you could register. I'm hoping that a lot of people were able to buckle down and do that, but I don't know if it's going to be as big a turnout as Carbine was hoping, because again, with a community thing, that's 5 plots, in theory, up to 5 builders trying to work in unison to get one project completed in a short amount of time, and I just don't know how well that's going to go over. But I've got my fingers crossed that we've got enough enthusiastic builders that we will at least see a few. I will try and make a point to tour those that are involved in the competition once they're listed. And definitely, if nothing else, we'll check out the winners. But I will try and give some time to the others as well, any of the participants. Same way that we do with like the Shades Eve competition and the Winterfest one, I think that they had not long ago. So if nothing else, that'll probably be among our first that we actually go visit. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and weekend. Again, I can't say for sure that we'll be here next week. Today was a little iffy even because I do have a bit of a sore throat and stuff. It's I haven't been coughing as much, but I was a few days ago, so I was a little worried about that. But it's one of those things I don't know until the day of. So if you want to know for sure if I've canceled or something, Twitter is probably the best way to check that out. I usually do my best to leave a message that the morning of if I'm going to have to cancel due to illness. But that's become more of an issue lately these last few months, and I apologize for that, but that's just, the way things have been going. So, but I'm going to do my best to keep at this even through that. So even if it's a little intermittent, we will keep these going for as long as people are building new stuff. So yeah. Um, Again, good luck with whatever projects you're working on, whether it's just stuff by yourself or if you're trying to work together with someone else to do a community. Um, I hope you guys have fun with it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what folks come up with, either way. And yeah, hope to see you guys next time. See you later. Bye bye.